Hey everyone, welcome back to Supreme by Sarah Pearl. I am your host, Sarah Pearl, and I'm so excited to talk to y'all today. But before I get into it, I do want to welcome my new listeners. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope that Supreme by Sarah Pearl it serves you as a valuable resource for you along your personal development journey. I am going to offer up a perspective that I found enlightening along my personal development journey, and I hope it is true for you. Now, with that being said, y'all, I have been watching Married to Medicine, okay? I don't watch reality TV, but I'm watching Married to Medicine this particular season because someone that I knew back in college is on the show, and I thought it would be so interesting watching her personality on reality TV. And y'all, it has not disappointed at all. I have been enjoying it thoroughly. But this podcast was triggered by this episode that I watched a few weeks ago. So there was a scene where one of the wives, who I believe is divorced now, she asked a question to a dinner table of the people on the show. So there were like, I believe 3 women, 3 men, married, and so their husbands were at the table and all that. So she posed this question to the group, and I'm going to quote it. So she said, "I am an alpha woman sitting amongst a gang of alpha women. That's who we are. That's who we are going to be. Can't shift it. Can't change it. How do you accept it and still have your masculinity?" That's the question she asked to the men on the table, okay? And so that whole statement was loaded, okay? There was no way that I could let her say that and me not dive into it. It was like, me as a person, I couldn't for some reason let that go, because I come from a background where I had to learn how to operate in my femininity, okay? So what I found is that this is a buzz topic in our culture: femininity, masculinity, alpha woman, alpha male, beta female. All of these things are buzzwords, buzz topics. And I've been doing a lot of research on it, because I think that the reason that these are trending topics and buzzwords is because our culture is trying to find identity, and I'm so glad that these things are trending, because I think it's necessary. But the danger in a trending topic or any type of trend is that the actual meaning of it becomes diluted and it is lost along the way, right? Different people begin to use the word in a way that that is a little bit derived from the original definition. And so I looked up what like alpha male, alpha female, all this is. And so alpha female, a lot of the times, and also in the context in which this lady was using it, the terms or the words that were used in the definition were dominant, leader, self-driven, career focused, assertive, like all these things. And I'm like, I can definitely relate to that. I feel that I am all of those things, right? But in the context of this example, okay, the way that she used alpha woman, I feel that it was in a way of being controlling, being demanding, and sometimes taking over the environment that she's in and running people over, right? Because she says, how can you all accept it and still keep your masculinity, right? As if the alpha woman would take away an insecure masculine male's identity altogether, okay? So anyway, so I was doing some research on it, and that's what I found. And so there was one definition that stood out to me that I personally related with the most, because I feel like a lot of the times when we use alpha woman, it's in a sense of, the strong Black woman archetype. Yeah, the one that was created from, slavery days. I feel that that is now becoming the alpha woman, right? And now it's like, well, I'm an alpha woman, so now you have to adapt to me, right? Well, which, you know, you do, but there are things that you also need to change, okay, alpha woman? So anyway, so there's this one definition that I personally relate to. And so when I use the term alpha woman, this is what I mean. Okay. So it says an alpha female is confident. She is emotionally independent, who has a strong life purpose and doesn't need anyone else to complete her. And at the same time, when it comes to romantic relationships and dating, she is soft, warm, supportive, and feminine. Okay? So using that definition, the lady that asked this question, all right, clearly, and I hope I don't ruffle feathers here, maybe I will, she clearly isn't an alpha woman using that definition. Because basically we're using this term alpha, you know, woman and all this, we're using this term to replace healthy femininity, okay? Like a healthy woman, because the opposite of an alpha female is a beta female, okay? And a beta female, from what I gather from my research, is that sometimes they can be insecure, they can be catty, right? They can be super clingy to the relationship that they're in. They can be manipulative. They can do, you know, basically an unhealthy woman, okay? So alpha being healthy, beta being unhealthy, all right? But now we're using this term alpha woman, and like the connotations are being misconstrued all over the place. And a lot of the times we don't know anymore what we are talking about. So when you're talking about like you being an alpha woman, what I found is the popular, most accepted definition for this is the connotation in which this lady uses it: dominating, you know, demanding, driven, you know, strong life purpose, like all these things, which is not a bad thing at all. But when it comes to relationships though, sis, when it comes to relationships, are you able to let your guard down? Because you're not out here trying to close deals. Like when you're at home, you're no longer trying to close deals in corporate America or in the entrepreneurial world. You know, you're no longer trying to get your point across in a presentation. You're not leading a team of I don't know, a team of people towards a vision at that point. You're at home, right? And now it's time for you to be with your significant other, okay? Your significant other doesn't need you to be all those things that you were out there in corporate America or in your entrepreneurial pursuits. They don't need that, right? They need you to be vulnerable and open, all right? Trusting, okay? They want you to trust them enough, okay, to be open and to be vulnerable. Y'all, I'm saying this because I come from the background where I was not trusting and I was not vulnerable enough to be soft, to live the soft life and show that soft side to my husband. And this was a couple of years ago, easily, where I was still working through that, okay? So a lot of the times when we are not able to express ourselves in our true feminine essence, it's because we don't trust the person that we're with to be open and vulnerable. Like we don't know that they'll be able to care for us in that manner if we are open, right? Because us as Black women, we're so accustomed to handling the fort on all angles, right? We're so accustomed to providing. We're so accustomed to closing deals, like providing for the household, cooking, raising the kids. Like we know how to do all angles of it, right? But so often, and I think this term alpha woman in the connotation of what this lady on Married at Medicine says, we are so accustomed to living that way that this alpha woman connotation is being replaced with a strong Black woman archetype, okay? So I wanted to say this and get this message across. If you are claiming to be an alpha woman, in my chosen definition, okay, that I want to live by, and the definition of alpha woman that I live by, okay, it says and again, an alpha female is confident. She is emotionally independent, who has a strong life purpose and doesn't need anyone else to complete her. Let's not stop there. Let's keep reading. And at the same time, when it comes to romantic relationships and dating, she is soft, warm, and supportive, and she is feminine. Okay, that is the definition I choose to use. And so a lot of the times when people use alpha woman in the popular connotation, I disagree. I disagree that you are an alpha woman in what I believe is an alpha woman. You're claiming to be an alpha woman, but your husband feels little. You claim to be an alpha woman, but your husband feels like you attack him with your words. Okay, and I'm not, listen, because I feel like some people are rolling their eyes at me right now. That's okay. But I'm going to use this example, okay? In this same episode, okay, the husband, like one of the husbands answered the question, okay? He's like, look, I know she don't control me. She thinks she does, but she doesn't, okay? I don't control her, she don't control me, and she thinks she does, but she doesn't, all right? And the wife agrees that she wants to control him, okay? And then there was you fast forward and there's another part where he's like, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, I wanted a woman who I couldn't run over, who basically has a voice for herself, but in the same breath, she can sometimes attack me with her words. Like, sometimes the blade that the one side of the blade that I absolutely adored, she would stand up for herself in public and etc. But then when you're in the house, she's lashing out at him, and he's like, sometimes I get cut by the blade. Sis, you're not operating in your true feminine essence. How can you say you are alpha woman and your husband is cut down by you? And then it's interesting though, because we'll say, and I'm guilty of this, so guilty. We'll say, well, you're not strong enough to be with me. No, sis, you need to learn how to be in a relationship. Yes, maybe you have come across some insecure men that don't know how to operate in their masculinity. But sis, you also need to learn how to be soft and open and vulnerable and trusting of your significant other. Okay? That's my message to all my alpha women out there living in the connotation of the popular opinion. I told y'all what my definition is. I have said it twice. I have quoted it to you twice. Okay? You cannot talk to me and tell me that you are an alpha woman and your husband feel disrespected. Okay? Yes, there's a possibility that you're in a relationship with an insecure man, but there's also a possibility that, sis, you are demanding and you're steamrolling over this man. Okay? And I'm afraid that sometimes we have women out here calling women are, so the alpha women of the popular connotation, that take on the popular connotation of it, I feel that they are, they have unhealthy masculinity, but they're calling it alpha women. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that there. But that's all I wanted to talk to y'all about. I would love to get your opinion on this, because it's something that, like I said, I've been studying a lot lately, and it's something that I take seriously, because it's something that I've had to work on a lot in my life. So thank y'all for tuning in to Supreme by Sarah Pearl. I can't wait to talk to you guys next time. Bye.